Now he's the love-manic grandpa, the wise-socratic grandpa.
At long last, we set sail back into the harbor of hour-long episodes of the Twilight Zone. But it looks like Captain Cat discovered some buried treasure under the sea, since this was quite a heartwarming surprise. Passage on the Lady Anne is sincerely a shockingly nice episode, which starts out creepy only to reveal a dazzling good side underneath. The hour-long episodes of The Twilight Zone have an infamous reputation among hardcore fans, mainly because a lot of them are not very good. They usually drag on for far too long, not containing enough substance to keep the audience invested for lengthy time periods, or just coming up as mediocre mez. However, we have found decent tales out of this experimental season, and this one kind of surprised me with how good it was. It's safe to say that the series did eventually gain a grasp on the longer runtime, and Lady Anne truly makes perfect use out of it, granting tons of deep drama. In this tale, we follow a troubled couple named the Ransoms, who've hit a rough patch in their marriage and are on the verge of a divorce. The husband, Alan Ransom, is a cynical bigwig financier who has huge plans to expand his career, intending to take care of business in London. But his workaholic attitude has taken a toll on his wife, who feels the spark in their marriage is all but extinguished, and she no longer thinks he loves her anymore. However, the duo try to save their marriage by booking passage on the Lady Anne.
He said it!
The Lady Anne is a luxury cruise, which, wouldn't you know, is set for London, meaning that the couple can enjoy a relaxing love boat and head to Alan's business at the same time. However, there's naturally more to this love boat than it seems, as when they board the ship, all of the crew and fellow guests are all elderly folks. The Lady Anne is a special cruise, booked only for certain people, but the couple got last-minute tickets in an attempt to gain some much-needed R&R. But the senior citizens are off-putting and very unwelcoming towards them, behaving strangely secretive. The old people all act super suspicious and ominous, where they make it loud and clear that they don't want the young couple on board for reasons not yet clarified until the twist, of course. And the entirety of this conflict all takes place on the cruise, as the couple try to patch things up, encounter creepy old folks, and spooky shenanigans occur. I truly love the atmosphere of the ship, as most of the times when we see it, it's always a foggy night, and the boat seemingly feels like a character itself, since the riders treat it as family. The Lady Anne is a decades-old vessel, which is being retired soon, but after some subtle clues from the old folks enjoying the cruise, we learn that it's really a ghost ship.
Ghost ship? Oh boy!
It quickly becomes very obvious what's truly going on the more the couple banter with the seniors. The old folks are all dying, and the ghost ship is transporting them all to the afterlife. The reason why they're hostile to the young couple and try to kick them off is because they aren't destined to die like them. They're trying to save them from following them to the end of the line. Now, that sounds like a wicked ghost story, but my sole issue is that they never explain that to them. The old folks all know precisely what's going to happen and have plenty of opportunities to warn them the truth, that they're all dying, but the Ransoms never find out and go the whole episode not knowing until the end.
I'm benign.
The Ransoms pretty much just assume that the old folks hate them because they're Americans, as most of the passengers are all Brits, who must feel annoyed by Yankees being on board. Wow, even back then, Americans were easily offended for stupid bullcrap.
Good gracious! I should bust a cap in your ass.
They frequently just chalk up the odd seniors being weird old coots and make nothing of it. That's a small nitpick, I know, but it got annoying because sometimes the writers openly tell them that they're dying and still never tell them everything or avoid admitting more. Luckily, the episode as a whole makes up for it by giving us a pretty touching tale circling the premise. The young couple are weirded out that they're the only non-old people on the ship, the slow ride into the dark unnerves them, and the two don't exactly connect once the ride begins. This changes once the old folks try bonding with the new arrivals. Some of the seniors apologize for the cold shoulder and even get to know the duo, while the ransoms work through their own baggage. The elders who aren't being sketchy get to know them and pass on some ideas rocking their worldview. The tale is stacked with many endearing character moments, relatable problems, and appealing concepts that it genuinely makes you grow attached to the cast and see new perspectives from their words of wisdom. Many of the old folks on board are married and lived long, prosperous lives, which influence the ransoms as they ponder more and more over whether or not they seek to salvage or break their marriage, as well as question the future, since they see how fulfilled these experienced souls are.
Old people are the greatest. They're full of wisdom and experience.
This episode has a rather profound take on true love, and how relationships can be strengthened even past the test of time, which helps the couple grow up as people. The creepy atmosphere also adds some uneasiness to this tale, as it never feels deadly, but the unknown vagueness does affect the mood of both the audience and the protagonists. It's an isolated void, which makes some feel closer, but Alan and Eileen are pondering. After enduring too much creepiness on the voyage, the couple have another squabble, but suddenly, Alan's wife completely vanishes. A decent chunk of the episode has Alan alone and scared, desperately searching for his lady, while the old characters offer enigmatic clues. This leads to one of the best scenes, where Alan attends a party to ask around for leads, now missing his wife and somewhat regretful of what he said to her. While the old folks party like it's 1899, one of the riders, played by our old scary brainiac psychopath Wickwire, crashes the dance, where he has a meltdown. During a rant, he acts up because he too lost his wife prior to the cruise. Wickwire's wife died before she had a chance to join the ride, and he regrets not having her by his side, since he hoped to party together, but eventually realized how alone he is now, because he misses her. He just wanted one last dance. As you can guess, this makes our hero finally see what a jerk he's been, and that he took his lady for granted all along. He was so focused on building a rich, successful life that he learns that there's no point in being successful if there's nobody there waiting for him. Alan learns the lesson: love is more important to life than narrow-minded end goals, and that he never appreciated how good he had it until he lost the love of his life. Then, as if by magic, Alan's wife reappears in their room, where the couple happily embrace and vow to stay together. I really love how it's never explained where she was. Eileen claims that she was in her room the whole time, but Alan clearly didn't find her there. It's not elaborated what really happened to her, as she has no memory of what occurred, and is no worse for wear, making it vague if she actually did vanish in the magic afterlife void, and was only returned when Alan wished he had her back, or if it was simply her avoiding Alan, and just elsewhere all along.
The world may never know.
I kind of enjoy it since I interpret it as the afterlife absorbing Eileen when she thought she had nothing to live for thanks to her dying love life, only for Alan professing his feelings to bring her back, since now their love lives on. At least that's my fan theory. So their marriage is saved. Both the lovers change for the better, and they befriend the old sages after gaining a newfound appreciation of life. And then, out of nowhere, the old folks pull guns and force the ransoms to get the hell out. Yeah, that happens. I know they're actually good guys who are trying to save them from the final destination, but it comes at you so randomly that it's super funny. They still never explain it to them, but the old folks are really saving them, since they realize that they still have many years of lifetime ahead of them to enjoy, and kick them off before the ship enters heaven. They're left supplies, SOS calls, and aided by the crew, but the ransoms are out just in time on a lifeboat as their new friends fade out, now more optimistic of where to traverse than before. Truthfully, I love this episode and found the romance arc to easily be one of the Twilight Zone's best. I enjoy the eerie flair all throughout, but it also puts the characters through a lovely redemption arc where they regain a love for life and become better people by the end. It's a classic ghost ship story, a hopeful morality tale, and a supernatural romance rolled into one. Despite the old folks surrounding the young couple being shady, there's a touching passing of the torch between the old gen to a more naive gen theme, which makes this trip all the more memorable and heartwarming. It's literally an adventure of people entering a dark place with total strangers, only to come out in a brighter tomorrow, now understanding their meaning more, and befriending these elders after showing them good. I would dare say that The Lady Anne is another hopeful and inspiring feel-good tale, hidden among a more spooky story. Rumor has it that this is Charles Beaumont's final episode written for the series, and boy did he exit on a high note, cause this feels like a genuinely warm goodbye with a hopeful message to everyone that life is good. So for that, I can reward this trip a gold skull. A tad weird in the end thanks to the unintentionally awkward funny moments, but I do strongly recommend this if you're entering the Twilight Zone, because it has a ton of creepy scenes, deep impact, and surprisingly optimistic messages for the future. Passage on the Lady Anne is a wild trip, full of magic, drama, and heavenly fun that you'll never want to get off.
You know, your presence aboard has been rather, how shall I say, symbolic. Us ending, as it were, and you beginning.
The Twilight